She thought missing her flight was the worst thing that could happen that day. She had no idea it would become the best decision of her life. But first, it would nearly destroy everything she had left. Detroit Metro Airport, Gate A7. The boarding door is about to slam shut. Keisha Washington clutches her last hope, a boarding pass bought with her final $850. This isn't just any flight. This is her daughter's future, her escape from poverty, her one shot at a nursing scholarship that could change everything. But then she hears it. An elderly woman struggling with her oxygen machine. Security approaching. The gate agent threatened to remove her from the flight. What Keisha didn't know was that helping this frail old woman would cost her everything she owned: her home, her savings, even her daughter's health, before revealing the most shocking truth of her life. Because that woman, she wasn't just any passenger. She owned the entire airline. But to understand why missing this flight felt like losing her last lifeline, you need to see how desperate Keisha's situation really was. Let me take you back 3 weeks. Keisha Washington, 34 years old, stands in the bathroom of Sunrise Manor Nursing Home at 6 a.m. Her reflection stares back exhausted eyes, hands already aching from 12-hour shifts that pay just $14 an hour. She splashes cold water on her face and whispers the same prayer she said every morning for 2 years. "Mama, if you're watching, please help me find a way out." Because Keisha is drowning. Not in water, but in bills that multiply faster than her paychecks. The rent notice taped to her apartment door reads $1,200, past due for 2 months. That's $2,400 she doesn't have. The red letters spelling EVICTION might as well be written in her daughter's tears. Her cramped one-bedroom apartment in Detroit's East Side tells the story of a woman fighting an impossible battle. Medical bills from 8-year-old Jasmine's asthma attacks cover the kitchen table like fallen leaves. $3,847 in collections. Each envelope is a reminder that her daughter's breathing comes with a price tag she can't afford. Credit cards maxed out at their $5,000 limits. Credit score sitting at 487, a number that makes landlords hang up before she finishes speaking. Her wallet holds exactly $43.67. The food stamps ran out 12 days ago. Last night, Jasmine asked the question that broke Keisha's heart in half. "Mama, why do we eat cereal for dinner again?" Because cereal costs $2.99. A real dinner costs $15. Keisha works 50-plus hours a week at Sunrise Manor, but it's never enough. The nursing home is understaffed, underfunded, and overflowing with residents who deserve better care than the system provides. She changes bed sheets, administers medications, holds hands with lonely elderly patients who remind her of her own grandmother. But at night, when Jasmine is asleep, Keisha sits in their tiny bathroom and cries silently into a towel, not because she's ungrateful for her job, but because she knows she's capable of more. She dreams of being a registered nurse, of making real money, of giving Jasmine the life she deserves. The problem is nursing school costs $40,000, might as well be $4 million. That's when the letter arrived. Cream-colored envelope, expensive paper. The Seattle Advanced Nursing Institute Scholarship Program. Full tuition coverage plus a $2,000 monthly stipend for living expenses. 12 recipients chosen nationwide based on a single essay. How has caring for others shaped your purpose? Keisha wrote about her grandmother, who raised her after her parents died in a car accident. About learning to give insulin shots when she was 12. About holding her grandmother's hand as cancer stole her breath, one labored gasp at a time. "Nursing isn't just my career choice," she wrote. "It's my calling. It's the way I honor every person who showed me what real care looks like." 2 weeks later, the phone call came. She was one of 12 finalists. Interview required in Seattle. Tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Keisha stared at her bank balance. $853. The price of a last-minute flight to Seattle, $850. Non-refundable. She bought the ticket with shaking hands. Then came the outfit. You can't interview for a scholarship wearing your nursing home scrubs. She borrowed $200 from Mrs. Rodriguez next door, promising to pay it back from her first scholarship stipend check. A simple black blazer, white blouse, and dress pants from the outlet mall. Professional enough to look the part. Affordable enough not to completely destroy her. Jasmine helped her practice interview answers while they shared a box of mac and cheese for dinner. Why do you want to be a nurse, Mama? Because every person deserves to be seen, heard, and cared for with dignity, baby. That's a good answer, Mama. You're gonna win. Win, as if life were that simple. Mrs. Carter from down the hall agreed to watch Jasmine for $50. $50 Keisha promised to pay but didn't have. Another debt. Another person she'd have to disappoint. The anxiety attacks started 3 days before the flight. Heart racing at 3 a.m. Hands sweating during medication rounds. The weight of knowing this was it. This was her family's one shot at escaping the cycle that had trapped her mother, her grandmother, and generations before them. Because Jasmine was already showing signs. Coming home from school asking why they couldn't afford the field trip to the science museum. Why did her shoes have holes while other kids wore new sneakers? Why did Mama work so much but they still couldn't buy the inhaler refill that cost $180? That inhaler sat expired in their medicine cabinet. A ticking time bomb waiting for Jasmine's next asthma attack. In her wallet, Keisha carries 2 things that keep her going. A faded photo of her grandmother in her nursing uniform from 1967, and a crayon drawing Jasmine made last month. A stick figure in scrubs with a heart over her chest and the words, Mama the Helper, written in crooked letters. The vintage leather travel bag sitting by their front door belonged to her grandmother. The only valuable thing left after years of selling everything else for bill money. But Keisha couldn't sell this. It held too many memories of the woman who taught her that caring for others was the highest calling. She packed that bag with interview clothes, a dream, and every last bit of hope she had left. Tomorrow, she will carry it onto a plane to Seattle, if she could just make it that far. Standing at that gate, Keisha was about to board the flight that could save her family, when she heard something that would test everything she believed about doing the right thing. Detroit Metro Airport, Gate A7, 7:15 a.m. The boarding announcement crackled through the speakers. Flight 247 to Seattle, now boarding Group C. Please have your boarding passes ready. Keisha's hands shake as she checks her boarding pass for the 10th time in 2 minutes. Group C. That's her. Her heart pounds so hard she can feel it in her throat. This is really happening. In 3 hours, she'll be in Seattle. In 2 hours after that, she'll be sitting across from the scholarship committee, fighting for her daughter's future. She whispers a prayer under her breath. Please let this work out. Please let everything be okay. The gate area buzzes with typical airport chaos. Business travelers typing frantically on laptops. Families juggling crying babies and overstuffed carry-ons. The smell of coffee and anxiety filling the air. Outside the massive windows, storm clouds gather like dark omens. The weather report this morning wasn't promising. Severe thunderstorms rolling across the Midwest. But her flight is on time. Still on time. That's when she notices her. An elderly woman, maybe 75, sitting 3 seats away from the boarding line. She's dressed elegantly, a cream-colored linen suit that probably cost more than Keisha makes in a month. Pearl earrings that catch the fluorescent light. Her silver hair is styled perfectly, not a strand out of place. But something's wrong. The woman is fumbling with a small device connected to thin plastic tubing that runs to her nose. A portable oxygen concentrator. The machine is beeping. Not the steady, reassuring beep of normal operation. Sharp, urgent beeps that make Keisha's nursing instincts kick into overdrive. Ma'am, we need to resolve this situation immediately. A gate agent approaches the elderly woman, his voice sharp with impatience. If your medical device is malfunctioning, you cannot board this aircraft. The woman looks up and Keisha sees something that breaks her heart. Dignity under pressure. The kind of quiet grace her grandmother had when the world was falling apart around her. "Please," the woman says, her voice refined but strained. "I have a medical appointment in Seattle that I simply cannot miss. The machine was working perfectly an hour ago." "Ma'am, I understand, but—" "Now boarding Group C," the announcement interrupts. "Group C passengers, please approach the gate." Keisha's stomach flips. That's her group. She needs to get in line, now. But the beeping continues, more urgent now. "Sir, I'm going to need you to call security," the gate agent says into his radio. "We have a medical device situation at gate A7. Other passengers in Group C start lining up. A businessman in an expensive suit checks his watch and sighs loudly. A mother with 2 small children looks annoyed. Everyone wants to board. Everyone wants to get to Seattle before the storms hit. Everyone except Keisha, who can't stop watching this woman struggle. The oxygen concentrator's alarm gets louder. The woman's hand trembles as she tries to press buttons on the device. Keisha recognizes the look in her eyes. It's the same look her patients get when they're trying not to panic, trying not to cause a scene, trying to maintain their dignity while their body betrays them. "Ma'am, you need to step away from the gate area," the agent continues. "Security will escort you to medical services." "Please," the woman says again, "I'm not having a medical emergency." "It's just the machine. If someone could just look at it." Keisha knows oxygen concentrators. She's worked with dozens of them at the nursing home. Battery connections, tubing issues, simple mechanical problems that look terrifying but aren't life-threatening. "Group C, final boarding call. We will be closing the aircraft door in 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Keisha looks at her boarding pass. Look at the line of passengers shuffling toward the gate. Look at her future walking away step by step. Then she looks at the elderly woman, whose hands are shaking as 2 security guards approach. Her grandmother's voice echoes in her memory. "Baby, some choices define who you are. When someone needs help and you can give it, that's not really a choice at all." But this isn't just someone. This is a stranger. A stranger who might make her miss the most important flight of her life. Jasmine's face flashes in her mind. Her daughter's proud smile when she drew Mama the Helper. Her daughter's confused questions about why they're always broke. Her daughter's future hangs in the balance. The oxygen concentrator beeps faster. The woman's breathing becomes slightly labored. Not dangerous yet, but heading that direction. "Ma'am, we need you to come with us," one security guard says, reaching for the woman's arm. And that's when Keisha's professional training overrides her personal desperation. She knows what's wrong with that machine. She knows how to fix it. She knows she can help. But helping means stepping out of line. Helping means missing her boarding group. Helping means risking everything she's worked for. The gate agent announces, "Final call for Group C. We are closing the aircraft door in 90 seconds. 90 seconds to choose between her future and a stranger's crisis. 90 seconds to decide who she really is." In that moment, Keisha made a choice that seemed to destroy her last hope of salvation. She steps out of the boarding line. "Ma'am, let me help you," Keisha says, approaching the elderly woman. The gate agent spins around. "Miss, you need to board now. We're closing the door." "Give me 2 minutes," Keisha responds, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "I'm a certified nursing assistant. I work with these machines every day." One of the security guards raises his hand. "Ma'am, please step back and let us handle this." "Sir, she's not having a medical emergency," Keisha says, kneeling beside the woman's chair. "It's a mechanical issue with her oxygen concentrator." "I can fix this." The elderly woman looks at Keisha with surprise and hope. "Are you sure, dear?" "I don't want to cause any more trouble." Keisha's hands move with practiced efficiency. She examines the portable oxygen concentrator, a model she knows well from Sunrise Manor. The display shows an error code. The battery indicator flashes red. "It's just a loose battery connection," Keisha explains, her nursing training taking over. "Happens all the time. The machine thinks it's losing power, so it's alarming." Final boarding call for Flight 247 to Seattle. All passengers must board immediately. Keisha's stomach drops. She can see the gate agent looking at his watch. Passengers are still shuffling down the jetway, but the line is almost empty. Focus. Help first. Worry later. She locates the battery compartment on the concentrator. "Ma'am, what's your name?" "Eleanor," the woman says. "Eleanor Hartwell." "Mrs. Hartwell, I'm Keisha. I need you to stay calm while I fix this, okay? Your oxygen levels are fine. The machine is just being overly cautious." Keisha opens the battery compartment. Just as she suspected, the connection has worked loose from vibration during travel. A simple fix that looks like a crisis to anyone who doesn't understand the technology. "The battery wasn't fully seated in the connector," she explains, pressing the battery pack firmly into place. "There we go." The alarming stops immediately. The machine returns to its quiet, steady hum. "Now, let me show you how to monitor your flow rate during the flight," Keisha continues, pointing to the digital display. "This number should stay between 2 and 4. If it drops below 2 or goes above 5, call a flight attendant." Mrs. Hartwell's breathing visibly relaxes. "Oh my goodness, you knew exactly what to do. You also have backup battery power for 6 hours, Keisha adds, checking the secondary battery pack. "More than enough for a flight to Seattle. If the alarm sounds again, just check this connection first before panicking." Behind them, she hears the dreaded sound, the heavy metallic clunk of the gate door closing. Keisha's heart stops. She turns around slowly, as if moving in slow motion, and watches her future disappear behind sealed metal doors. "Miss Washington?" The gate agent approaches, holding a clipboard. "I'm sorry." That was the last flight to Seattle today. The storms are causing cancellations for the next 48 hours minimum. The words hit her like physical blows. Last flight, 48 hours, interview tomorrow morning. There's no way now. Mrs. Hartwell's hand touches Keisha's arm. "Oh, my dear. Did you miss your flight because of me?" Keisha stares at the closed gate door. All those months of planning, all those prayers, all that hope, gone. She starts, then stops. What is there to say? That she just threw away her family's future for a stranger? That she chose helping someone else over helping her own daughter? "Young lady," Mrs. Hartwell continues, her voice full of concern, "please tell me what flight you were trying to catch." "It's okay," Keisha manages, though her voice cracks. "I was going to Seattle for a scholarship interview. But it's tomorrow morning. There's no way to make it now." Mrs. Hartwell's eyes widened. "A scholarship? For what?" "Nursing school," Keisha says, numbly packing up the oxygen equipment. "Full tuition, living stipend. It was going to change everything for me and my daughter." The elderly woman reaches into her purse and pulls out a thick envelope. "Please, let me pay for a new ticket. Or a rental car, something. This is my fault." Keisha shakes her head. "Ma'am, you don't owe me anything. I chose to help. That's on me. But you sacrificed your future for my comfort." "No," Keisha says, standing up slowly. "I did what my grandmother taught me. When someone needs help and you can give it, you help. That's not negotiable." Mrs. Hartwell stares at her for a long moment. Then she reaches into her purse again and pulls out an elegant business card. Cream-colored, heavy paper stock, simple gold lettering. "Eleanor Hartwell, private office," Keisha reads aloud. "Dear, I don't know what to say except thank you. You saw a person in distress and responded with such competence and kindness. You didn't know me from anyone, but you risked everything to help. Mrs. Hartwell makes a discreet phone call, speaking in what sounds like perfect French. Keisha catches words like changement de plan and circonstances extraordinaires, but doesn't understand the conversation. When she hangs up, Mrs. Hartwell looks at Keisha intently. You mentioned your grandmother. What would she think of what you just did? Keisha touches the vintage leather bag at her feet, her grandmother's bag, packed with interview clothes she'll never get to wear. She'd say I did the right thing. She always said kindness doesn't keep receipts. Wise woman. What was she like? She was a nurse. Worked 40 years at Detroit General. Raised me after my parents died. She used to say... Keisha's voice catches. She used to say that nurses don't just heal patients. We heal the world, one person at a time. Mrs. Hartwell writes something on the back of her business card and hands it to Keisha. True nurses don't just heal patients. They heal the world. The same words. Exactly the same words. How did you... Some truths are universal, dear. Keep this card. You never know when paths might cross again. Mrs. Hartwell gathers her belongings with the help of airport staff who seem unusually deferential. As she's escorted toward her rescheduled flight, Keisha notices the driver waiting for her, uniformed, professional, treating Mrs. Hartwell like someone very important. But right now, none of that matters. Keisha sits alone in the empty gate area, holding a business card and the ruins of her dreams. What Keisha didn't realize was that missing this flight would trigger a cascade of disasters that would push her family to the absolute breaking point. The numbers hit her like punches to the stomach as she sits in the empty gate area. $850. Gone forever. Non-refundable tickets are now worth nothing but regret. $200 borrowed from Mrs. Rodriguez for the interview outfit hanging in her carry-on bag. Money she promised to pay back from scholarship funds that will never come. $50 owed to Mrs. Carter for watching Jasmine. $50 she doesn't have. $112 she won't earn today because she took unpaid leave for the interview. And that's just the beginning. Her phone buzzes. Text from Mrs. Rodriguez. Mija, how did the interview go? When can you pay me back? My rent is due tomorrow. Keisha stares at the message. How do you explain that you threw away your neighbor's money to help a stranger fix an oxygen machine? She calls the scholarship program one last time, praying for a miracle. Seattle Advanced Nursing Institute, how may I help you? This is Keisha Washington. I was scheduled for an interview tomorrow morning, but my flight was canceled due to weather. Is there any possibility of rescheduling? A pause. Keyboard clicking. I'm sorry, Miss Washington. The committee interviews 12 candidates over 2 days, and selections are made immediately following the final interview. We cannot accommodate reschedules. Please, I understand this is unusual, but I'm very sorry. Your application will remain in our files for next year's program. Next year. When Jasmine will be 9 and they'll be living where? On the streets? The 2-hour bus ride home feels like a journey through hell. Keisha stares at her reflection in the grimy window as Detroit's urban decay rolls past. Abandoned buildings, boarded-up storefronts, the landscape of broken dreams. Her phone buzzes again. This time, it's a call from an unknown number. Miss Washington? This is Janet from Detroit Medical Collections. We need to discuss your outstanding balance of $3,847. Our records show... Keisha hangs up. She can't deal with debt collectors today. She can't deal with anything today. Mrs. Hartwell's business card sits in her wallet next to the faded photo of her grandmother. Eleanor Hartwell, private office. The back reads, True nurses don't just heal patients, they heal the world. Beautiful words that don't pay rent. The apartment building comes into view as the bus shudders to a stop. Keisha's heart sinks further. There's a new notice taped to the front door of her unit. Bright yellow paper, official seal. Final notice of eviction. Tenant has 24 hours to pay outstanding rent of $2,400 or vacate premises. 24 hours. Keisha fumbles with her keys, hands shaking. Inside, Jasmine is at the kitchen table with Mrs. Carter, working on homework. "Mama!" Jasmine jumps up and runs to hug her. "How was the airplane?" "How was the interview? Are we going to be rich?" The questions hit like daggers. Keisha kneels down to Jasmine's level, trying to find words that won't crush an 8-year-old's hope. "Baby, the interview, it didn't happen. My flight got canceled because of storms." Jasmine's face falls. "But you can try again, right? You can take another airplane?" "It's complicated, sweetie." The interview was today only. Mrs. Carter approaches quietly. "Keisha, I'm sorry, but I need $50 tonight. My grandson needs medicine. Another debt. Another person she's disappointing." "Mrs. Carter, I promise I'll get it to you." "Just give me a few days." The elderly woman's face softens with sympathy and frustration. "You're a good girl, Keisha." But promises don't buy medicine. After Mrs. Carter leaves, Keisha sits at the kitchen table surrounded by bills, medical collections, credit card statements, the eviction notice, all the evidence of a life that's falling apart faster than she can fix it. Jasmine climbs into her lap. "Mama, why are you crying?" "I'm just tired, baby." "Did you help someone today?" The question catches Keisha off guard. "What do you mean?" "You always help people. That's what makes you sad sometimes. Because you care about everyone, from the mouths of babes." "Yeah, baby, I helped someone today." "Then you did good, Mama. Even if you're sad." Keisha holds her daughter tight, breathing in the scent of her strawberry shampoo, trying to memorize this moment before their world completely falls apart. Because tomorrow, they'll be homeless. And she still has no idea how to fix any of it. But the real consequences of Keisha's choice were just beginning to unfold. Day 1. 6 a.m. at Sunrise Manor. Her supervisor, Margaret, waits by the time clock. "Keisha, my office. Unexcused absence yesterday. That's your final warning." Margaret cuts 4 hours from her weekly schedule. $56 less she can't afford to lose. Co-workers whisper during lunch. It must be nice to skip work for dreams. Day 2. 7 a.m. phone call. "Ms. Washington, this is property management. Your rent is 48 hours overdue. We need $2,400 by 5 p.m. or we will begin eviction. Please, I just need one more week. Pay or vacate." Day 3. 3 a.m. Jasmine gasped for breath in the next room. Keisha rushes to her bedside. Her daughter struggles to breathe, chest working too hard. "Mama," Jasmine whispers between gasps. "I can't breathe well." The expired inhaler sits useless on the nightstand. $180 for a new prescription. $180 she doesn't have. "We're going to the hospital, baby." Detroit General Emergency Room. 4 a.m. 3 hours later, the resident hands her a prescription and bill. Acute asthma attack. She needs this inhaler immediately. Prescription, $180. ER visit, $347. The fear in her daughter's eyes, devastating. Day 4. Rock Bottom has a basement. Hospital parking lot. Keisha Googles payday loan companies. 400% interest. Loan sharks in suits. Her other option sits in her wallet. Mrs. Hartwell's business card. She could call, beg. Admit that helping a stranger destroyed her family and ask for charity. Her grandmother's voice echoes, "Pride is expensive, baby. Sometimes more than you can afford." Day 5, 4 p.m. Final eviction notice on her door. Vacate by 5 p.m. tomorrow or face legal action. Jasmine's school called, needing a current address. She has nowhere to give them. Keisha stands in her apartment, holding Jasmine's hand, surrounded by boxes. The vintage leather bag sits by the door, packed with clothes that have nowhere to go. On her other hand, Mrs. Hartwell's business card. She's about to make the call that will swallow her pride when her phone rings. Unknown number. She almost doesn't answer, thinking it's another debt collector. But something tells her to pick up. Just when Keisha was about to break completely, her phone rang with a call that would reveal the shocking truth about the woman she'd helped. Hello? Keisha's voice cracks. She expects another debt collector, another threat, another door slamming in her face. Miss Washington? This is David Carter, executive assistant to Eleanor Hartwell. Keisha's heart stops. Mrs. Hartwell? The woman from the airport? I'm sorry, who? Mrs. Hartwell asked me to contact you immediately. She would like to meet with you and your daughter today. Keisha looks around her empty apartment. Boxes everywhere. Eviction notice on the table. Jasmine is sitting on the floor, coloring with broken crayons because they can't afford new ones. Sir, I don't understand. Why would she want to meet with us? She's sending a car to pick you up. Are you available in 30 minutes? A car? Mr. Carter, I'm at the hospital with my daughter. She had an asthma attack and Mrs. Hartwell anticipated that possibility. The driver has arranged for a pediatric specialist to meet you both. Dr. Martinez will examine Jasmine during transport and provide any necessary medication. Keisha's head spins. I don't understand what's happening. Ma'am, Mrs. Hartwell will explain everything. The car is already en route to Detroit General. 20 minutes later, a black Mercedes-Benz pulls up to the emergency room entrance. Not a taxi, not an Uber. A luxury sedan with a uniformed driver who steps out and approaches them. Miss Washington? I'm James. Mrs. Hartwell sent me to collect you and Miss Jasmine. Jasmine's eyes widened. Mama, is this real? Before Keisha can answer, a woman in medical scrubs approaches. I'm Dr. Martinez, pediatric pulmonologist. Mrs. Hartwell asked me to examine Jasmine during our drive. But we can't pay for... Everything is arranged, Ms. Washington. Please. The car's interior is like nothing Keisha has ever seen. Leather seats that probably cost more than her monthly rent. Dr. Martinez examines Jasmine with gentle efficiency, then hands her a brand new inhaler. Her breathing is much better. This should prevent future attacks. I'm also prescribing a backup inhaler and spacer device. How much do I owe you? Dr. Martinez smiles. Mrs. Hartwell handles my fees. Just focus on your daughter. As they drive through Detroit, Keisha's anxiety builds. What does this woman want? Why is she doing this? The Mercedes pulls up to a gleaming office tower downtown. Keisha has driven past this building 1,000 times on the bus to work, but never imagined she'd be inside. The directory in the lobby makes her legs weak. Hartwell Aviation Group, Executive Offices, floors 45 to 50. Aviation Group? Like airplanes? Mr. Carter? Keisha stops walking. What kind of company is this? Mrs. Hartwell will explain everything upstairs. The elevator rises so smoothly Keisha barely feels it moving. 45, 46, 47. The doors open to a reception area that looks like something from a movie. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the entire city. Marble floors, fresh flowers that probably cost more than Keisha's weekly groceries. Mrs. Hartwell is waiting in the conference room, the receptionist says with a warm smile. They walk down a hallway lined with framed photographs. Awards. Newspaper clippings. And then Keisha sees something that stops her cold. A massive photograph of Detroit Metro Airport. Aerial view showing dozens of airplanes on the tarmac, all painted in the same blue and silver colors, all bearing the same logo. Hartwell Aviation. The conference room doors open, and there she is. Mrs. Eleanor Hartwell, the woman from the airport. But now she's not struggling with an oxygen machine. Now she's standing confidently behind a massive mahogany table, wearing an impeccably tailored business suit. Behind her, floor-to-ceiling windows overlook Detroit Metro Airport, the same airport where Keisha's life changed 5 days ago. "Welcome to my airline, dear," Mrs. Hartwell says with a gentle smile. The words hit Keisha like lightning. Her airline. Mrs. Hartwell owns the airline. The woman Keisha helped at the gate. The woman whose oxygen machine she fixed. The woman for whom she sacrificed her scholarship interview. Owns the entire airline. "I don't understand," Keisha whispers. "Please sit down." "Both of you." Mrs. Hartwell's voice is kind but commanding. "Jasmine, would you like some juice while your mother and I talk?" An assistant appears with apple juice and cookies for Jasmine, who sits wide-eyed, taking in the luxury around her. "Keisha, I owe you an explanation. My name is Eleanor Hartwell. I founded Hartwell Aviation 32 years ago. We operate 215 aircraft across North America. We employ over 50,000 people." The room spins. Keisha grips the edge of the table. "The day we met, I was returning from a board meeting in Chicago. I was, let's call it, traveling incognito. I wanted to experience my airline the way our customers do, without special treatment, without anyone knowing who I was." "You were testing your own airline?" "In a way, yes. But I was also testing something else. I was looking for something very specific. Someone very specific." Mrs. Hartwell walks to the window overlooking the airport. "You see, my late husband Robert was a Navy medic. He built this company with me, but he never forgot his medical training. Before he died, he made me promise to create a program that would honor healthcare workers, a program that would bring nursing expertise to aviation." She turns back to Keisha. "For 3 years, I've been searching for the right person to lead this program. Someone with the technical knowledge, the compassion, and most importantly, the character to represent what we want to achieve. Mrs. Hartwell, I just helped you with your oxygen machine. Anyone would have—" "No, dear. Nobody would have done what you did. You sacrificed your future for a stranger's dignity. You missed the most important flight of your life to help someone you'd never met before." The pieces start clicking together. The French phone call, the deferential airport staff, the luxury car, the pediatric specialist. "You've been watching me. I've been hoping for you." But learning Mrs. Hartwell's identity was just the beginning of a transformation that would change 3 generations. Mrs. Hartwell returns to her seat and slides a folder across the table. "Keisha, I'd like to offer you a position that doesn't exist yet. But first, let me address your immediate concerns." She opens the folder. Inside are documents Keisha recognizes with horror. Her medical bills, her eviction notice, her credit report. "Mrs. Hartwell, how did you—" "When someone impresses me, I do my research. Every debt you have, every bill that's keeping you awake at night, every worry about Jasmine's future, consider them resolved. Today." Keisha's hands shake. "Ma'am, I can't accept charity. I have my pride." "This isn't charity, dear. This is an investment. An investment in someone who chose character over comfort when it mattered most." Mrs. Hartwell pulls out another document, a check, made out to Keisha Washington for $25,000. Emergency Relief Fund. Your rent, medical bills, and living expenses for the next 6 months. Consider it a signing bonus. Keisha stares at the check. More money than she's ever seen at one time. More money than she makes in 2 years. But I haven't signed anything. I don't even know what job you're offering." "Fair point." Mrs. Hartwell smiles. "Let me paint you a picture of the future." Hartwell Aviation is launching the first comprehensive in-flight medical assistance program in commercial aviation history. We're going to train 8,000 flight attendants across our entire fleet in advanced medical emergency response. She stands and walks to a presentation screen that drops from the ceiling. Every year, 12 million passengers fly with Hartwell Aviation. Medical emergencies happen at 30,000 feet with nowhere to land for hours. Heart attacks, severe allergic reactions, diabetic emergencies, strokes. Images flash on the screen. Flight attendants looked helpless. Passengers in distress. Emergency landings costing hundreds of thousands of dollars. Currently, our crews have basic first aid training, Band-Aids and aspirin. But what if we could do better? What if every Hartwell flight had someone aboard with real medical expertise? Do you want flight attendants with nursing degrees? I want to create a new position. Director of In-Flight Medical Services. Someone who would develop protocols, design training programs, and lead a team of certified flight nurses. The presentation continues. Salary information appears. $85,000 starting salary. $95,000 after the first year. $110,000 with performance bonuses. Keisha's current salary, $29,120 per year. But Mrs. Hartwell, I'm not a registered nurse. I'm just a CNA. Which brings me to the education component. Another slide appears. Full scholarship to Northwestern University's Accelerated Nursing Program. Tuition, books, living expenses. You'll study while working part-time for Hartwell, developing our protocols. Keisha's head spins. Northwestern University. The scholarship she lost was worth $40,000. Northwestern's program costs $120,000. There's more. Mrs. Hartwell's eyes twinkle. Corporate housing during your studies, a 2-bedroom apartment 10 minutes from campus, furnished, utilities included. Images of the apartment appear on screen. Hardwood floors, modern kitchen, Jasmine's own bedroom with a study desk. What about Jasmine's education? I was hoping you'd ask. Mrs. Hartwell clicks to the next slide. Chicago STEM Academy, full scholarship through high school graduation. They have an aviation engineering track that feeds directly into MIT and Stanford. Jasmine looks up from her juice box. Mama, what's engineering? Mrs. Hartwell kneels down to Jasmine's level. Engineering is designing things that help people, like airplanes, or medical equipment, or maybe someday, spaceships. Jasmine's eyes light up. I could build spaceships? With the right education and hard work, you could build anything. Mrs. Hartwell returns to the presentation. But here's what makes this personal for me, Keisha. My husband, Robert, died of a heart attack on a commercial flight. Not one of ours, a competitor's. The flight attendants did their best, but they weren't equipped to handle a cardiac emergency. By the time they could land and get him to a hospital, it was too late. Her voice catches slightly. I've spent 10 years building this company into something that could honor his memory, but I needed the right person to lead this initiative, someone who understands that caring for people isn't just a job, it's a calling. She shows a photo of her late husband in his Navy medical uniform. Robert always said that nurses don't just heal patients, they heal families, communities. Sometimes they heal the world, one person at a time. The exact words Keisha's grandmother used to say. How did you know those words? Because great truths transcend individual experience, dear. Your grandmother understood the same thing Robert did, the same thing you demonstrated when you helped me. Mrs. Hartwell closes the presentation. So here's my offer. Northwestern Nursing School, all expenses paid. Part-time work developing our medical protocols at $40 per hour. Upon graduation, director position at $85,000 annually. Corporate housing for 2 years. Jasmine's education is guaranteed through high school. She pauses. But more than that, you'll be building something that will save lives. The protocols you develop will be used by other airlines. The training programs you design will become industry standard. You won't just be changing your life, you'll be changing aviation forever. Keisha looks at Jasmine, who is drawing airplanes on the back of a napkin. Mrs. Hartwell, Why me? There are thousands of better nurses out there. Better nurses didn't sacrifice their last dollar for my dignity, Keisha. Skill can be taught. Equipment can be purchased. But character? A character like yours is rare. She leans forward. I'm not offering you a job. I'm offering you a partnership in building something that will outlive us both. Keisha touches her grandmother's business card, still in her wallet next to the photo. Can I have some time to think about it? Mrs. Hartwell smiles. Take all the time you need. But your apartment is available tonight if you'd like to see it. And Dr. Martinez would like to establish Jasmine as a patient for ongoing asthma management. Tonight? Keisha, your eviction notice expires at 5 p.m. today. It's currently 4:30. The timing hits her like lightning. Saved with 30 minutes to spare. Keisha's acceptance transformed not just her life, but created ripples that would change countless others. 6 months later, Northwestern University campus. Keisha walks across the quad carrying medical textbooks, wearing scrubs with Northwestern Nursing embroidered on the pocket. The same woman who once counted pennies for bus fare now strides confidently toward her advanced pharmacology class. Her professor stops her after the lecture. Keisha, your case study on in-flight medical protocols is exceptional. Would you consider presenting it at the National Aviation Medical Conference? The woman who missed her scholarship interview is now being invited to speak at national conferences. At home, their real home now, Jasmine sits at her own desk in her own bedroom, working on a science project about airplane design. The walls are covered with her drawings of aircraft and space shuttles. Mama, did you know that airplane engines work the same way as rocket engines? Tell me more, baby. Ms. Rodriguez at school says I might be smart enough for MIT someday. What's MIT? The child who once asked why they ate cereal for dinner now dreams of building spaceships. 1 year later, Hartwell Aviation Headquarters. Keisha, now a registered nurse, stands before a room of 50 flight attendants demonstrating how to use an automated external defibrillator at 35,000 feet. Remember, altitude affects everyone differently. What seems like a minor chest pain on the ground could be a heart attack in the air. Your quick response could save a life. The medical protocols she developed are now standard training for Hartwell's entire fleet of 215 aircraft. The first success story comes 3 months later, Flight 447 from Detroit to Denver. A 67-year-old passenger suffers cardiac arrest 40 minutes into the flight. Flight attendant Maria Santos, trained in Keisha's protocols, immediately begins CPR, while the flight nurse aboard provides advanced care. The passenger survives. The headline in Aviation Weekly reads, Hartwell's medical program saves life at 30,000 feet. The program gains national attention. CNN interviews Keisha about revolutionizing in-flight medical care. 5 years ago, I was struggling to afford my daughter's inhaler, she tells the reporter. Today, we're preventing other families from experiencing that kind of medical crisis in the air. 2 years later. The ripple effects multiply. American Airlines adopts Hartwell's medical protocols, then Delta, then United. The Hartwell standard becomes the new industry requirement. The FAA mandates advanced medical training for all commercial flight crews. Keisha's innovation now protects millions of passengers annually across all major airlines. But the personal transformation is even more dramatic. Jasmine, now 11, wins the Chicago STEM Academy's engineering competition with her design for a portable oxygen concentrator that's 40% lighter than existing models. I got the idea from a story Mama told me, she explains to the judges, about helping people breathe better when they're scared. The judges don't know she's describing the day her mother's life changed. 3 years later. Community transformation. Keisha establishes the Second Chances Scholarship for single mothers pursuing nursing degrees. Funded by her savings and Mrs. Hartwell's foundation, it provides the same opportunity she received. The first recipient is Maria from her old nursing home job at Sunrise Manor, the same co-worker who once whispered about Keisha skipping work for dreams. I can't believe you remembered me, Maria cries at the scholarship ceremony. I remember everyone who thought I was crazy for believing in something better, Keisha responds. Now I want to prove that crazy dreams can come true. The scholarship grows. 50 recipients the first year, 100 the second, 200 by year 3. Mrs. Hartwell, now in her 80s but still sharp, expands the foundation based on Keisha's success. The Eleanor and Robert Hartwell Foundation for Healthcare Innovation launches partnerships with 10 historically black colleges and universities. Keisha showed me that character-based investing creates the highest returns, Mrs. Hartwell explains to Forbes magazine. We're not just funding education, we're funding transformation. 4 years later. Full circle. Keisha receives a call at her office. She's now Director of Medical Services for all of Hartwell Aviation, overseeing a team of 200 flight nurses across North America. Miss Washington? This is Detroit General Hospital. We have a nursing student here who says you inspired her to pursue aviation medicine. She's asking if she can shadow you for a day. The student's name is Sarah Carter, Mrs. Carter's granddaughter. The same Mrs. Carter who watched Jasmine the night of the missed flight. She says her grandmother told her about a nurse who chose helping someone over helping herself, and it changed everything. Even the small kindnesses create lasting impact. 5 years later, legacy established. The Keisha Washington Protocol is now taught in nursing schools worldwide. Her textbook, Medical Care at Altitude, is required reading for aviation medicine students. Jasmine, now 13, interns at NASA's Junior Aerospace program during summers. Her acceptance letter to MIT arrives early. Mama, do you ever wonder what would have happened if you hadn't helped that lady at the airport? Keisha looks out her office window at Detroit Metro Airport, where airplanes bearing the Hartwell logo take off every few minutes, each one carrying flight attendants trained in protocols she developed. No, baby. Some choices were always meant to be made. 6 years later, Keisha found herself in a familiar place with a chance to complete the circle of kindness. Detroit Metro Airport, Gate A7, the same gate where her life changed forever. Keisha walks through the terminal wearing her crisp uniform. Hartwell Aviation, Director of Medical Services. She's traveling to Geneva for the International Aviation Medical Conference as keynote speaker. The vintage leather bag, her grandmother's bag, still travels with her. But now it contains presentation slides instead of desperate dreams. At Gate A7, she notices a commotion. A young black man helps an elderly gentleman whose medication spilled across the floor. His connecting flight to Chicago is boarding the final call. The young man misses his boarding group helping gather the pills. Sir, I'm sorry, but that was the last boarding call, the gate agent tells him. The door is closed. Keisha recognizes the look of devastation. She's seen it in the mirror. She approaches quietly. Excuse me, is everything okay? The young man looks up, defeat written across his face. I was supposed to fly to Chicago for a medical school interview tomorrow morning, but I couldn't just leave this gentleman here. What medical school? Northwestern. It's my dream school, but I can't afford to reschedule. This was my one shot. Northwestern, where her transformation began. Keisha pulls out her phone. James? This is Keisha Washington. I need an emergency seat on the next Hartwell flight to Chicago. She turns to the young man. There's a corporate flight leaving in 20 minutes. You'll be in Chicago tonight. Ma'am, I can't afford... It's handled. Remember this moment. Helping someone else never costs you anything. It just changes the path to your blessing. She hands him her business card. When you get into Northwestern, not if, when call me, Hartwell has a medical scholarship program. 6 months later, her assistant buzzed her office. Miss Washington? Marcus Johnson is here. He says you told him to call when he got into medical school. Marcus enters wearing a Northwestern medical sweatshirt. Dr. Washington, I wanted to thank you. Your story is why I chose Northwestern. I want to study aviation medicine. The circle continues. That evening, Keisha sits outside Detroit Metro Airport, watching planes take off. Her phone buzzes. Text from Jasmine, now 18 at MIT. Mama, just presented my senior project on aircraft medical systems. Professor says it could revolutionize emergency care. Proud to be your daughter. Another text from Mrs. Hartwell. Just heard about Marcus receiving the Robert Hartwell Memorial Scholarship. My husband would be so proud. Keisha looks at her grandmother's photo on the dashboard. We did it, Grandmama. We really did heal the world, one person at a time. The legacy continues, one choice at a time. Keisha's story proves that when we choose compassion over comfort, we plant seeds for miracles we cannot imagine. Think about it. One moment of kindness at an airport gate transformed not just 2 lives, but thousands. Keisha's choice to help a stranger created ripple effects that now protect millions of air travelers worldwide. But here's what I want you to remember. Every person you meet today is carrying struggles you can't see. That elderly person at the grocery store, the stressed parent in traffic, the coworker is having a rough day. You have the power to be someone's Mrs. Hartwell. You have the ability to plant seeds that bloom into miracles years later. So here's my challenge for you. This week, look for one opportunity to help someone when it's inconvenient for you. Don't expect anything in return. Just trust that kindness creates kindness. If this story inspired you, hit that like button. Share it with someone who needs hope today. And subscribe for more stories that prove ordinary people can create extraordinary change. What act of unexpected kindness have you experienced? Tell us in the comments below.